So hi everyone and welcome back to the Aga Wilson Show. Today I have a special guest on, and that's Ute Krüger. She's a pathologist from Sweden, and she's been outspoken during the COVID crisis and recently also gave out a book that has been translated to English. So we will talk about that later as well, but we have a lot to cover. So I'm super happy to have you on today, Ute. Thank you so
Hello,
much.
Aga. Thank you for your invitation.
Thank you. And you and I met years ago, and I know you've been very active in working hard to even, during the crisis, but also putting together this book. So my first question to you is, I know the book is based on years of pathological research on the COVID vaccines. What was it that first prompted you to start investigating the biological effects of the vaccine in such depth?
Yes. At the beginning, I would add that I have 25 years experience in pathology. And in the last 18 years, I was a breast cancer specialist. And I was also involved in breast cancer research at the Lund University for 8 years. And in the beginning of this Corona time, I observed propaganda of fear. But in the internet, I could find that COVID-19 only has a mortality rate of 4%. Today, we know it's 0.1%. And yes, I observed everything closely in that time that followed. And in autumn 2021, I had a feeling to get more breast cancers from younger women. The tumors were bigger, and I called it turbo cancer. And I suspected the link between this COVID-19 shots and these cancers. It was aggressive cancers. And I tried to find colleagues to help me to research this connection. And I came in touch with Professor Arne Burkhardt, and he investigated that after this COVID-19 shots. And he and his colleague, Professor Waldang, looked at almost 19 deaths and almost 60 biopsies from living persons after this COVID-19 shots. And in January 2023, I met Arne in Stockholm. There was a big conference, and we talked about the importance to publish his findings. And yes, 3 months later, Arne died suddenly in an accident. And I was shocked and wrote in this condolence book that I will do everything to publish his findings. And I have summarized the findings of Professor Burkhardt in this book, and that's why the book is a memorial publication for our dear colleague, Professor Arne Burkhardt.
Yeah, that's incredible. And thank you for doing that, because I do know that he was, while he was still here, he presented a lot of the findings during COVID on our conferences, and it was really shocking to see what happened. So what was the most alarming patterns that you discovered, that he discovered during the autopsies and tissue samples from vaccinated individuals? Because I remember there was a lot of photos or pictures we saw with spike protein, for example, and how that affected the body.
Yes, there were inflammation in different organs of the body, and the tissue damage was dependent on the number of COVID-19 shots. So the damage was more common after multiple COVID-19 shots. And there were a lot of findings, but most shocking for me was that young people died. The youngest in this book was 16 years old.
Wow. What do you think is, I mean, I have read a lot today that people are still dying from this shot. And what do you, even years later, what do you think is happening really to these people?
There are a lot of mechanisms, and I think a big problem is this amyloidosis. Amyloid is a protein, and the body cannot get out it from the body, and it will stay in the body and will cause problems. If you have it in the heart muscle, you have not this contraction anymore. And if you have it in the vessels, they will become bigger, and you have not this elasticity in the vessels. And they will have no possibility for the blood to come through, and there will be a stop. And I think this will be a big problem. And regarding this amyloid, I heard that when I was in Germany with my lectures, that they have new practices in Hamburg only for this amyloidosis. And this is alarming.
Yeah, absolutely. But are there people working on finding ways to get it out of the body currently?
I think it doesn't work. But yes, there is, I think it's Pfizer's product to get out this amyloid from the body. But I don't know if it works, if it really works.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of interesting progress and hopefully studies and solutions to the problem, especially now that Robert Kennedy is the Secretary of Health in the US. I'm hoping that, you know, a lot of things will be happening now, especially because we have so many people injured across the world that are still suffering tremendously, and it is a very huge problem that I'm very worried about, you know, and I'm sure that many people are.
Yeah.
So you speak about the global impact of the vaccine in your book. Can you summarize how your findings challenge or confirm the mainstream narrative about vaccine safety?
In this book, or in Reutlingen, also Arne Burkhardt worked in his own practice in Reutlingen in Germany, and he investigated 89 cases. And in almost 3/4, the findings indicate that the death was related to these shots. That means you cannot call it safe. And if we investigate more deaths after these shots around the world with the same result, we would have one of the greatest medical disasters in history.
Yeah, which we were already talking about years ago, and a
Yes.
lot of people were shouting that to the
Yeah.
world that, you know, it's happening. Did you observe differences in vaccine reactions based on age, gender, and pre-existing health conditions? And if so, what groups were most at risk according to your research?
Yes, as in the book are cases from 16 to 94 years. The patients were 16 to 94, and it was both women and men. And on the one hand, you had myocarditis in young trained people. Do you remember the football players who died on the pitch?
Yeah.
Yes, and they had no risk factors or something like that. And on the other hand, there were pre-existent conditions such as obesity or diabetes.
Yeah. And yeah, because we also heard a lot of cases of myocarditis, clotting, immune system disruption. So obviously those were also cases examined, right, in the book.
Yeah. Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, there in almost 90% of cases we have vasculitis, an inflammation in the blood vessels. It can be the small one or the big ones, the aorta, for instance. And then we had an almost 50% myocarditis. And then we had blood clottings, and there was the normal with the red blood cells and fibrin. And then you had this other blood cluster, atypical, I would call it. You have no red blood cells in it, and it's a mass. You know, I know if you had seen these pictures from the undertakers, they had shown that they could find in the body this huge and long blood clots. And this is the atypical, and maybe even there it's amyloid in this clots. And then we had Arne Burkhardt called it lymphocyte frenzy, with other words, autoimmune disorders. And we have shown the destruction of elastic fibers. And these elastic fibers you have, for example, in the blood vessels to get this elasticity. And if you don't have them, the vessel cannot hold this pressure, and it will break, and you have the bleeding, and the patient will die. And then this turbocancers, but there were no turbocancers in this book, but this was my investigation before.
Yeah, because turbo cancer has skyrocketed lately, and there's so many young people suffering from cancer, and this is obviously also an incredibly important thing to look into, and you would think that the governments would do their jobs and do that.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah, it's so how did the regulatory bodies or health institutions respond to the findings? Like, how do you feel about that? Because when they ran counter to public health messaging, right? So how did you feel that the Swedish authorities responded to this?
Yes, regarding this turbocancer in breast, they labeled my efforts to clarify this situation as sabotage for the attempt to vaccinate anyone in the region. And in October 2024, I wrote an article in Berliner Zeitung, it's a daily newspaper in Berlin, about this COVID-19 shots and my findings. And it was not only turbo cancer, it was the book, also the findings in the book. And 1 month later, there was a fact check online, and they wrote that I stir up fear and that my allegations are not correct. And regarding this book, I have not received any response yet.
Wow. Well, maybe one day. I hope.
Yes,
I hope
yeah,
we will get
so.
to that.
I hope so. Yes.
But I mean, it is kind of I feel it's inspiring that they're starting to at least write more and more about it in the mainstream media, and I see that they're starting to reaching out to the doctors that were completely censored during the COVID crisis, and they want to talk to them. So slowly, maybe one day, hopefully, we'll get there. And yeah, it was a horror show. I mean, this show was censored, like, of course, people like me that reported on this stuff were also severely censored all over the world. So we all experienced it. And I saw today someone had reached out to one of the severely censored doctors from CNN, wanted to have an interview and talk to them about some of these things. So, slowly but surely, hopefully one day we will get there. I know Sweden is tougher because nothing has been acknowledged here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so since you were censored, what role do you believe that this censorship or lack of transparency played in the public's understanding of vaccine risks? And how did that influence global health decisions?
In my opinion, that's the part of a big plan. And both censorship and the lack of transparency. And the plan was to vaccinate as many people as possible. And the countries have bought a large quantity of vaccine doses. and that's a business. And it's a big experiment with us humans. And by not admitting the truth, the experiment and the business could continue and is still going on.
Regardless of anything, I do remember when I was young and our government stopped the swine flu vaccine because we had 400 cases of narcolepsia. So I was shocked just that no one would say or do anything after 100,000 cases.
Yes.
So even that says a lot about, that something is wrong, something is not like it usually was. How do you respond to critics who claim that concerns about vaccine safety are unfounded or rooted in misinformation, especially given your scientific background and data?
I think it's a part of the plan, all this. And how do you know about this leak in the Robert Koch Institute in Germany? Yes, it's a great thing. The Robert Koch Institute is a federal institute within the portfolio of the Federal Ministry of Health in Germany. And last summer, top secret papers were published. And with all conversation, for instance, between the Robert Koch Institute and the health minister in Germany. I think it's 4,000 pages. You can take it from the internet, but you have to take it in German because it's only German. But you can look at this at the page www.rkyleaks.com. And then you can write, for example, autopsy, and you will find all this they said about autopsies, and this is a great website. But these in this Robert Koch Institute are scientists with the knowledge, and they said Corona is not that dangerous, and we don't need a lockdown. They said we don't need a vaccination campaign.
Yeah.
And that the statement that we have a pandemic of the unvaccinated is not scientific. But the health minister ordered a lockdown, a vaccination campaign, and communicated that we had a pandemic of the unvaccinated. The problem is that the Minister of Health is above the Robert Koch Institute. He's not even a doctor. The scientists in the Robert Koch Institute won't lose their job and did not contradict. And that's the problem.
And that's the problem we've seen all over the world, right? I mean, I'm a little bit embarrassed by the fact that the world is run by kids and not adult people. I see the politicians, they're not making decisions for the people. It's all about power interests nowadays. And I think people lost trust in politics and politicians. I mean, you see, it's like when you see people publicly attacking each other like kids, then you wonder, like, how are these people able to run and manage, our interests, our health, and the world when all they care about is me. So, I'm totally with you on that, and I really hope that people will stand up and say no in the future. We don't want this. Our
That's
money,
why we are sitting here.
exactly, our taxpayer money, everything, that we work hard for goes to things that I don't even want them to go to, and we hired these people. So I think that people also need to realize that we have a lot of power as people. We're many, we're 8 billion, like we can't forget about that. And I actually do believe that we're going to see a lot more people standing up soon, because at some point we will have enough. I mean, if I look at the world today, I don't think, I'm shocked. I'm just shocked. There's just too much suffering. There's too much craziness going on. And it's almost psychotic, in a way.
Yes, it is.
And I'm very happy that you released this book. I really admired Arne for being brave and doing all of these you know, I met him in person. I was very sad to learn that he left us, and it's yeah, it's such an honor that, you know, you honored him, and you know, and this book is going to get distributed out there for people to know the truth. So thank you for that, and I would love for you um, to maybe tell us if you have a message of warning or hope to the global medical community and general public that they can take
Yes.
away from your book and your research. So
Mm. I hope that pathologists and forensic doctors will remember these findings in daily routine from this book here, and that doctors from other specialties will read the book and understand that these injections are toxic, and that they will stop giving these injections immediately, and that the relatives of people with vaccine damage who died can find a similar case in this book and understand the background. And it's also the book can be a help for lawyers in vaccine injury litigation. And this is a globally unique book, and documentation of the times. And I hope this mRNA-based technique will stop immediately. On this is not only for COVID-19, because we have a lot of other vaccines on this mRNA technique, and this is not the way we should go. Yes, and this book is special. This book I will send to Robert Kennedy Jr. in the US today. And yeah, I hope it will help even in the United States.
yeah, absolutely. I am very excited about your book, and I think it's amazing that you translated it into English so that more people have access to it. And I know that you recently also changed your career towards a
Yes,
holistic approach. So I would love for you to tell us a little bit about that.
yes. I stopped working as a pathologist because I couldn't be a part in the system. And the system is not for to get healthy people, it's to earn money. And then I said, no, that's not my way. And now I have my own practice, and I would like to help people not getting sick. I have the prevention in my focus, and I work with the dark field microscopy, and I can see a lot of things in this microscope before you have a disease. And this is a great method. And then I have frequency medicine. I work with healing. In the US is Reiki more common than in Sweden. And this is also a great method. And yeah, I have got a course in Ayurveda, this Indian, what do you call it, medicine. It's more than 5,000 years old, and this is also great. And I take from all these parts a little bit and take it for my clients. And you can see have more information on my homepage. It's www.active-health.se.
SE, yeah.
SE as Sweden, yes. But it's in English too. You can choose which language, German, English, or Swedish. And yes, and the book is already translated into Swedish too. And in the autumn, I will have French and Spanish too. So it will come out in the whole world.
Amazing. All right, Ute, thank you so much for being a change maker in this world and for coming on today. And I wish you the best of luck with your practice. And thank you for writing the book and everything that you do out there for humanity.
Thank you so much, Arge.